New Imperialism in Africa by Elizabeth Luong. Imperialism is the policy of extending a nation's authority by territorial acquisition or by establishing economic and political hegemony over other nations. New imperialism does not stray much from this meaning, but added to it. The idea behind new imperialism is for European nations to invest in countries that were less industrialized. This means that Europeans would help these less fortunate countries improve their transportation systems, such as railroads, roads, harbors, and bridges. They also assisted with mining, agriculture, and telegraph systems. This, in turn, employed the native people of this country. Simply put, this newly established tactic guaranteed that Europe would have a hand in the dealing of many countries and in some cases even take over. For hundreds of years, European slave trading bases were very popular, but few Europeans found themselves going into Africa further than that. The slave trading business died down due to the abolition of slavery in America and the Congress of Vienna prohibiting the Atlantic slave trade in 1815. In turn, this meant that slave trade was no longer as beneficial as it used to be. Alternatively, Europe found that colonizing in Africa could be advantageous. Motives for this takeover can be seen as economically profitable. Their benefits economically were higher profits from their investments, new market for their product, and safe sources of raw material such as ivory, rubber, minerals, diamonds, and gold. For political reasons, it is often debated that Europeans brought a more organized and superior culture to Africans, whom they considered as backwards people. The British, French, Belgians, Germans, Italians, and Portuguese were who sought to get their hands on these resources. To avoid conflict in this scramble for Africa, German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck called for a conference in Berlin from 1884 to 1885 to map out Europe's control over Africa. Regions of takeover in Africa were North Africa, Egypt, the Belgian Congo, and Southern Africa. During the takeover of North Africa, Europeans marked their territory in two ways: by their cleverness in investments and loans to bind the Africans, and tactful force. France had taken over Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco. Italy conquered Libya. Britain gained control over the richest country in North Africa, Egypt. Egypt was a notable takeover because they were a semi-independent country that drove themselves into so much debt that Britain ended up gaining control for 70 years. Egypt was under the rule of the Khedives before Britain took over. The Khedives implemented major projects such as building a European-style army, roads, and new harbors such as the Suez Canal. With this huge debt, taxes were increased, which caused a rebellion where Britain sent their army over and easily conquered Egypt. The Belgian Congo fell under the reign of King Leopold II of Belgium under false pretenses that he was a humanitarian. The affluent European powers thus let Leopold take over the Belgian Congo. It was later discovered that Leopold used slave labor in a very brutal way to acquire rubber and ivory from the Free Congo state. Within 30 years of being ruled under Leopold, The population of Congo was cut in half due to deaths from murder, exploitation, starvation, and disease. South Africa was known for its fertile pastures and farmland with an abundance of coal, iron ore, gold, diamonds, and copper. British was eager to take over these colonies, now known as South Africa, Botswana, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Upon takeover, the white elite enforced segregation between white and colored people to maintain political control and economic dispensation. Imperialism in Africa benefit Europe mainly in an economic sense. Thus, the impact on Africans were very severe. They lost their land, life, and dignity in the result of this brutal takeover.